one player to be traded for all 30 teams. So, I think for the Golden State Warriors, I think they had Jonathan Kuminga on there. Miami, of course, is Jimmy Butler. Denver had Michael Porter Jr. on there. Brandon Ingram for the New Orleans, for the Pelicans. One player to be traded, like a trade candidate is what they were saying. So obviously I go down and I go look at the Lakers and I'm like, all right, what's one player that Laker fans would say, hey, if this player is gone, all good. Or maybe they'd even prefer it. D'Angelo Russell probably ran away with that a couple weeks ago, but since he's already been traded, well, he's gone. So I'm saying to myself, I'm like, what player would I be okay with if the Lakers lost this player because they went out and tried to get Jonas Valanciunas, or maybe there was a bigger deal for Walker Kessler that also included Colin Sexton, so you got to match salaries and everything else. And I'm asking myself, I'm like, all right, one player that you take that contract and say, all right, let's flip that and let's move on. Would it be Rui? Would it be Gabe Vincent? Would it be Vando because you haven't seen him? Would it be Christian Wood? On this list, the trade candidate was Christian Wood, but that was only because I think they were just putting that in because it's a small salary in the Lakers. Maybe they're saying the Lakers are not likely to trade some of these other players. And if you guys remember last week, Eric Pincus came on, and when he came on, the conversation was predominantly Walker Kessler, Christian Wood, and then Lakers throw in some draft compensation. So it wasn't around a bigger deal. But for me, if you said on all the players on the Lakers roster, I know Rui seems like the easy one to call out, but for me, I think it's Gabe Vincent. I mean, what really has Gabe done since he's been with the Lakers? And he's making $11 million a year. Rui's making 17 a year. Don't get me wrong, but I've seen many more moments with Rui Hachimura contributing much more than Gabe Vincent. I mean, and listen, Rui's frustrating. Don't get me wrong. I've had plenty of conversations with Laker fans on here about the frustration of Rui's inconsistencies. But at the same time, I look at Gabe Vincent and Rui Hachimura. When I look at those two players, now, can you get more back? Probably with Rui. You're giving back more money, so maybe the caliber of player you're taking in is even better. But Gabe Vincent's done literally nothing for the Lakers in a year and a half. And I haven't looked at the comments yet. Part of me thinks there's going to be a lot of people that are quick to say, no, Rui Hachimura. Yes, Rui Hachimura's got to go. But I'd rather take my chances with Rui in the lineup, and you're using him a little bit more strategically, and you're saying to yourself, okay, if we got Rui, there's a little bit of size. Maybe it's going to be one of those nights for Rui where he does go 3 of 6 from the three-point line, rather than I just don't know what Gabe Vincent has brought to the table for the Lakers in a year and a half. I don't. It's an interesting article because they literally go through every single team. Memphis Grizzlies, trade candidate, Luke Kennard. Minnesota Timberwolves, Joe Ingles. Pelicans was Brandon Ingram. You just kind of keep. Phoenix was Yusuf Nurkic. They literally go through. The Blazers was Jeremy Grant. I think for the Lakers, I think if you said, hey, any player that's on this Lakers roster, again, I think we all agreed, or a lot of people agreed, D'Angelo Russell was the name before. Now I think it's I think it's Gabe Vincent. I really do. I think it's Gabe Vincent in regards to a player that just does not have that much value with the Lakers, at least in my opinion, for what he's been able to do since he's been here. All right, let's see some of your guys' comments. Oh yeah, we stirred it up a little bit here. All right, I'm going to actually let me read one of these. Northborough, fun fact: Walker Kessler girlfriend just won Miss America. Okay, that's good, Northborough. Thank you for sharing that. I did not know that. I'm going to put that into some of the stats that I have. I'm going to say, hey, Walker Kessler, a walking double-double every game. Good defensive presence. Kind of weak offensively. Can probably get you a couple of blocks a game. And his girlfriend just won Miss America. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. We needed that right there. Look, this is probably a really good example as well. D'Lo had highest plus minus on the team. That's a good example of how deceiving plus minus can be at times. I'm going to tell you guys a kind of a funny story here. And then I'm going to get into, who you guys think from the Rui side or whatever player. I remember there was a time where I went to cover a Team USA game, and I predominantly went to the game because I can't remember, was it in Anaheim? I can't remember where it was. But the reason why I went is because Kuz was on the Team USA team. It was like a preliminary or whatever it was. And I remember Popovich was the coach at the time. And I was thinking about asking one of the plus minus questions. And somebody kind of jumped the gun before me and said, and I can't remember, it was a player, hey, this player had this plus, whatever it is. And Greg Popovich basically was like, that is the stupidest stat in NBA, in basketball. It's the dumbest stat. And when Popovich said that, I'm like, well, if freaking Popovich is saying that, then what the hell am I going to say? By the way, I was glad somebody else asked that question because I was next in line to ask it if that individual didn't ask the question. But I think this is a great example. D'Lo had the highest plus minus on the team. However, I would say 80% of fans, Laker fans, were like, cool. So when is D'Lo going out? When is D'Lo leaving? It's a deceiving stat. It has its value in some regards, but not all the time. Okay, let's see. Let's see what people think in regards to that trade that I was talking about, or a trade candidate that you would be comfortable with getting rid of on this Lakers roster right now. Let's see some of these. Trade Gabe. We've competed against the top teams without him. Okay. Very, very good point. Rui is the new scapegoat. Okay. Rui and Reeves for Fox. I'll tell you who's not going to do that deal. The Sacramento Kings are not going to do that deal. I just want an idea. Okay, here's another one for Rui. I'm just curious to see how Laker fans feel about the idea and the concept. Nobody wants Gabe Vincent, okay? Rui trashed the problem with the Lakers fans. Love your favorite players by heart. Then getting mad when the business doesn't work out. Gabe and Vando are dead money right now. I saw Gabe highlights from his Miami days, and he was looking like Iverson. He's done nothing with the Lakers. Literally, he's done. I think Gabe Vincent, who's been out for the last couple of games, this is actually a great example. He's been out for the last couple of games. Have you really noticed him being out? I haven't. That's when you know a lot about a player and a player's value. Is when they're not on the floor, are you saying, got to get that guy back in? There was a game Lakers had against Atlanta a couple games ago. It was a home game. And Austin Reeves was out of the game. And I found myself, while I'm watching the game, Redick put Reeves in. You got to have Reeves in. I mean, guys like Anthony Davis, of course, you're always going to know the value there. But it was one of those moments where it's like, you got to have Austin Reeves in. Has anybody ever said that about Gabe Vincent? I don't think anybody has. Rui hits big fourth quarter shots. Listen, if the price of doing business costs you Rui Hachimura, all good. No problem. I don't think the world's going to end. But my issue is if I'm looking at both of those players, those two specific players, Rui Hachimura and Gabe Vincent, I'm not really hesitating on that one. Let's see what else we got here. All right. Mac Mall loves Rui. Rui has way more upside than Vincent. I like Rui. Rui plays like he's 6'1". Yeah, that part is interesting to me, how Rui, with his body, with his size, he's got, I've said this before. I remember when the Lakers traded for him, I'm like, is that not the perfect NBA body? The guy almost looks like he's almost got the physique of like a Kawhi Leonard, but obviously his game does not compare anything to that. All right, that gives us an idea. All right, that's it. That's kind of a interesting conversation out of nowhere. I didn't think that was going to get where it got to. Rui got overpaid. He did get overpaid. But I'd rather have Rui than Gabe Vincent if you're asking me between those two players. Let me get one more super here, and then let's keep things moving. Tommy, thank you for the super, brother. I appreciate you. General Manager Sliwa. Yep. If I was the general manager, do you know how quick you guys would ask for my head? You guys would be like, this guy's got to go. This guy's got to go. He's got to go. All right, let's keep things rolling here. I appreciate you guys hanging out, and thank you for the supers. Thank you for all the comments, whether it's a super or not.